Yo, what up, motherfuckers? Check the hat out. Make rap brutal again. So, yo, I was just watching the Drink Champs for Dr. Dre and Snoop. And, I've always had mad respect for Dr. Dre. He's an influence of mine. When Deep Cover dropped, that was fucking insane. The way he hooked up that Sly and the Family Stone beat. If you don't know that break, the drums is Sly and the Family Stone. And the way he put that jazz bass line was sick. And then he put the high, all those fucking, synth, moogs and shit on it. It was fucking crazy. So yeah, I've always respected Dre, So, yeah, I'm going to review the new record because I said, let me go listen to it. It's like 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning now. And I'm like, let me fucking do a little review. I figure since I'm doing these videos, I'm not going to review 100 people. I'm not trying to be a reviewer of things. If it makes sense, I'll do it. But, it's obviously a big thing for Dre to do a record with Snoop. So I just listened to it. And my first reaction is me and Hyde always talked on what consists of a classic album. You have to have 8 bangers on the album. And we've always analyzed my albums and his albums. And, if you listen to I Need Drugs, you're going to find at least 8 bangers. Gory Days, 8 bangers. Prefix for Death, 8 bangers. Death Rap, at least 8 bangers. If you have at least 8 that you could say, that's a 9 or a 10, then you have a classic record. If you only have 4, that's not a good look. And a lot of rappers who you love their first records, their debuts, their sophomores don't have fucking 8 on them. They might have 3, they might have 4. Some people don't even have more than 2. So anyway, my review of the Missionary album, okay, here's the thing. I'm not going to listen to it again. It wasn't good enough for me to listen to it again. So I might, if shit gets played over and over in places or whatever, it might brainwash me and grow on me. But I'm not personally going to keep rocking it. I don't think it's good enough that I'm going to go back to it. You understand? If I have a choice of listening to a G-Rap classic, I'm going to play a G-Rap classic. I'm not putting on the Dre album, the Missionary album. The way that I did listen to the Game Hit Boy album many times. Just the first track on the Game Hit Boy record, I think it's called I Got Your Back, Fade. I forgot the name of it. The hook is I got your back, fade, something like that. Forgive me for fucking it up. That beat is better than all the beats on this whole Missionary album from Dre. And I think that was done by Hit Boy. And I've never really been somebody who checks Hit Boy's beats, let's say. I'm not familiar with all the Nas records that he's done and all that. But I'm just telling you from what I heard and what I listened to and all that, just that one beat that starts off the Game Hit Boy album is better than all the fucking beats on this whole album. And lyrically, it's better just because of the way the hook was done. Him and what's his name? Big Hit and Game, the way that they did their little back and forth on there, I find it doper than basically Snoop's rhymes on here. Now, when I first heard Snoop drop his first verse on the first song, Shangri-La, I think, I was thinking, wow, Snoop's a little multisyllabic now. He's rapping, a little more technical. So I was like, that was pretty dope, So at first I was rating how many beats I would say are bangers. And I had come up with only 3. 3 out of the whole album would I consider those are bangers. And I was looking to say 4. And I don't know if I found even 4 that I would consider certified bangers. And then I listened to the whole instrumental version of the album, because the album online on Spotify has the main version with instrumentals. So when you finish listening to the main, you could rock the instrumental version. So you can get this hat at necrosuperstore.com. It's my MAGA hat, but like a hip-hop version. This dark MAGA. I know you people are going to hate me for it. I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? I like the fact that you hate me for being different. You know what I'm saying? Fuck that. I don't want to be like none of these other pieces of shit out here. Necro, you're going to know Necro's different on all different levels. Proud of my heritage, proud of my color. Not anything against anyone else. Just, I don't hate myself like your motherfuckers wish I did. I ain't one of those fucking self-hating motherfuckers in the hip-hop industry. I'm a dude that if you think like me, mentally, you could be any color. And it's Necro mentality. Then we rock together. But anyway, back to the review. So I feel the album's very popish. It has a pop feel. It almost feels like Pharrell produced it. It doesn't really feel like Dr. Dre. Like, it's not even close to as good as Doggy Style or the old shit. You know? Not even close. And those records were commercial. But the production of, like, Snoop Dogg is na-na-na, those funk beats, funkadelic inspired or sampled, so much iller than these fucking new beats that Dre is making. It almost sounds like fucking Pharrell is producing these beats. It has that feel of Pharrell. And I only heard like 3 beats that had that kind of Dre essence to it. And they weren't even, Snoop didn't even really rap murderous on them. Like if somebody would have rapped, like if I was to rap on some of these beats, it might be a brutal classic. Like the beat that he has with Jane Aiko, or whatever the fuck her name is, or the Hard Knocks beat. Hard Knocks beat, I think, is the best beat on the album and has that Dre energy. But Snoop's not really rapping fucking vicious on it. From what I heard, remember, this is all my first impression. You know what I'm saying? I'm just reporting after just listening now, and it's my first impression. So I also didn't like the fact that he used the Alchemist sample that was used on Mob, that track from Infamous Mob. I don't like that he used that and he didn't use it better. If you're going to use a sample someone else used, use it better. Just to throw in there, Alchemist did not use Agent Orange better than me years after when he did that G-Rap song and he cut up Agent Orange. I spoke to Alchemist about that at Rock the Bells. He was like, I had to do it. I'm like, all right, no doubt. You know, I'm not mad because I made my mark with Agent Orange and I'm the first one to ever do it. But he ended up resampling it. It was cool, but I didn't hear it and go, wow, he destroyed Agent Orange. And remember, he had G-Rap on it. So G-Rap is better than Cage. So, but nah. Whatever that song is, you know, I don't even really remember it. I have to listen to it again. I didn't think it was better than Agent Orange. So what he did using this Alchemist Infamous Mob sample, and it was only the intro to the song. The sample, I don't know the exact sample. It's a Latino sample. But the main sample is from the French guy, Francis Robigo or some, I don't remember the name. That's the main sample. Dun, 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 dun. That shit. But Dre sampled the intro to that song, where we hear Prodigy go, Mob, you know, and that. So he didn't do it better. So it's like, why even do it then? And I mean, Alchemist is pretty popular now. Like, obviously, Dre is the king of production, you know, in people's eyes. Alchemist is obviously very popular. It's not like some underground guy used it and you didn't know. He should know Alchemist production, I would think, Dre, especially since he mentioned Fred Wreck on Drink Champs. Meaning he knows people that really aren't super fucking famous, in my opinion. Alchemist is more known than Fred Wreck. So you would think he would know Alchemist sampled that. Somebody would have told him. If anything, Fred Wreck would have told him, yo, you know Alchemist used that. So Dre probably knew Alchemist used it and still used it. I think kind of corny. If you in that regard, being your Dre, you should have did it better than the track Alchemist produced. My opinion. That's the only track on the album that I heard beat wise that was someone else's sample used it before you years before. Everything else, not really blown away, man. Not really blown away. First of all, I don't like all the guests that he has on it. You know, shout out to Jelly Roll. You know, got nothing against his success. Much success to him. Didn't really feel that it matched him being on a Dr. Dre Snoop album, being that they didn't do one for years. I think it should have been even Method Man. Honestly, I shut off the Method Man song before it got to Method Man's verse. That's how much I didn't like the beat. I actually didn't even get to Method Man's verse. So I just thought it was weird, you know? Love Wu-Tang, but Dr. Dre and Snoop do an album. I would think if you're going to have features on it, it has to be very specific. I didn't think Jelly Roll fit on that. Not to hate on him, like, oh, because he's coming up in the game and I'm hating on him. I'm saying I don't think it fit. And doing a song with Tom Petty, Dre and Snoop, I think they're chasing commerciality. I think because Jelly Roll is hot now, you know, and he was on an Eminem album, I think they're chasing putting artists that they think are currently hot. And because I noticed on a bunch of songs on the album, it's very commercial and not like the shit that you would think Dre and Snoop would have did years ago, because they weren't chasing commerciality. They were the commerciality by being who they were. Now it seems like they're trying to add people that they think are hot to make themselves hot, which is kind of what Eminem did when he did a song with Jelly Roll, by putting Jelly Roll's song and then rapping on it. It's like, oh, let's go find out somebody who's popping now in the country world of country hip-hop, and let's attach ourselves to it. Eminem has been doing that for years now to keep himself relevant. He did that with Pink, with Rihanna, basically all the commercial people that are popping. I'm pretty sure Paul Rosenberg tells him, and management and all, oh yeah, you need to keep yourself relevant. But, you know, definitely don't go do a song with NECRO or go do a song with some underground rapper. You're going to do something with the most pop, you know, people that are popping on radio that sell the most records. That's what you're going to do when you're in the space and you have a monopoly on hip-hop, like Eminem does on being the white guy. You know, you're not going to go back and bring underground people up with you. It's going to be, let's go do a song with Rihanna. So I kind of feel that's what they're doing now with Jelly Roll, like trying to get his fan base and throwing him on a Dre album, an Eminem album to get his fans. And like I said, no hate on him, because I don't even know him. You know what I'm saying? And we followed each other on my last Instagram page. So, you know, I don't hate on people's success. I'm just analyzing the record and who's on it and all that. And you could give your opinion and tell me if you agree or not or whatever. But I think it's great for him. You know what I mean? That's fucking awesome for his career. But now I did think it made more sense when he did the Eminem collab. I don't understand doing the Tom Petty song with Dre and Snoop. I just think that's just trying to be commercial at that point. And I liked the beat and the piano loop of the one he did with the Janie Aiko. I don't even know how to pronounce the name. But I don't get how it got super commercial immediately. If you listen to the track, it plays for a couple of times, the loop, and it's evil, and you would want to hear somebody come with some NWA type shit. You know, that's what I would want to hear from Snoop and Dre. NWA production. Or just funked out funkadelic shit. And he didn't do any of that. And some people might say, oh, well, why repeat yourself? You know, why do what you did? Well, I mean, music is music, and it's either better or worse than what you did. I should be judged the same way. If I drop Death Rap 2 soon and you think it's not as good as the first one, you have a right to shit on it. I'm not going to say, oh, I'm a different guy now, da-da-da. I know if it's called Death Rap 2, it has to be as good as Death Rap 1 and be in the vein of that edginess that the first one had. So I didn't like how that beat, it was dope with the piano, and then it gets mad commercial. It just shows that the way Dre is thinking and that team is like, yeah, we could keep something hard, but then we're going to make it commercial so that it gets its exposure to her fan base and to the pop world. And I don't like that. I don't like that. To me, as an underground head who never went commercial, that fucks it up for me. You know, it ruins it for me. I would have rather have heard a murderous NWA gangster Long Beach Crip thugged out verse on that immediately without her on it. Or if you're going to put a singer, put somebody from the Chronic days, one of those singers, you know what I mean? Like the way Wu-Tang had Blue Raspberry singing on shit. And, you know, like you have like these people that aren't pop blown up and they're more underground. Or like Chinky, I think her name is, raps on Infamous Mob and Mobb Deep tracks. Have someone on that way on a beat like that. But then getting like a pop star, I don't know. I wasn't feeling it, you know? Like I said, maybe I'm sleeping and you would have to hear it over and over. You'll tell me in the comments because I know this is going to be a good fucking video with you giving your opinions. But basically, I don't think it's a classic album because it doesn't have 8. I couldn't even find really 4. A lot of the beats sound like Pharrell did the beats. Not even as good as Timbaland because Timbaland's, his great shit was way better than these beats. Like his technicality of like the, how do I say it, with the way he would do drum patterns and it would be like funky, and they were much better than this. So it doesn't even fall into that. I say Pharrell because it sounded like a lot of the beats were like in the style of Drop It Like It's Hot, like that, like with that kind of drums and kind of like those weird samples that are kind of like not shit I would pick. Necro wouldn't pick any of these. Maybe a few of them I might, but I would have made it into a more brutal, hardcore track and less commercial, you know? And those were only like the 3 or 4 that I might think was cool. The rest, not really impressed. I didn't even hear really any verses that blew me away from what I heard. The first verse where he's rapping was cool, but then anything after that kind of sounded like they're just trying to be very pop with this album and less underground. And I think being as big as they are and as legendary, it would have been doper if they made it more hardcore and underground instead of like sprinkling pop. It's like a record they made with Pharrell's advisement and then they sprinkled pop sprinkle all over it. And, you know, that's like a Necro album sprinkled with all pop on it. You would be turned off. You'd be like, what the fuck? Nah, you want the brutalness. You want it to be raw, you know? And that's what you would get when you listen to an NWA album. Now, I know people might say, oh, but NWA's NWA. Yeah, but it's produced by Dre. It's Dre's best shit. It's his first shit. And then Chronic was his next incredible shit. So I would have wanted to hear a little bit of NWA style production. Yeah, you know, that's just my opinion. You don't have to agree with me, you know what I mean? We could debate it, you know, but I'm not saying that I'm correct or wrong. I'm just telling you, and I thought it would be interesting. I felt like in the mood to give my opinion after listening to the full album. I thought that I could give a good fucking opinion on this record. Let me know what you think, if you agree with my opinion, or, you know, or if you don't agree. Let me know let me know in the comments what you rate the album. Now, what I mean by rate the album is if it had 8 or more classics, it's a fucking classic. That means, you know, the songs have to be a 9 or a 10, 8 of them. So I say the album has the most 4 bangers, and I don't even know if I consider those songs bangers, because to be a banger, it doesn't just have to be a good beat. Like a Necro classic, it has to have a good beat, and you have to obviously like the lyrics and the verses I kicked on it. So it has to be a full banger, not just a production banger. I am saying I only think maybe he has 4 production bangers on the album. I don't even know if that's 4 great Snoop songs, because I wasn't really impressed with it felt very commercial. Less old school Snoop coming up to prove himself, and more commercial, you know? Yeah, I'll go as far as to say, after hearing this record, I would say Dre fell off. And I love Dre, so it's no disrespect, because I'm influenced by Dre. You know what I mean? So, and Dre definitely has enough beats that he's classic. Like RZA has enough beats. Like, I don't like a lot of late RZA stuff. I love the early shit. That few years from the beginning of Protect Your Neck up to maybe Wu-Tang Forever. After that, I don't really love RZA production. But he has like 52, you tell me what you think. I think he has at least 50 plus bangers. So I think Primo's like one of the only guys who consistently has been dope. Every fucking year, one after the other, never fell off. RZA, I feel later, fell off. Dre, I feel with this new album, fell off. A lot of rappers, I feel, fell off. I'm not feeling Havoc's new shit, but the shit that he did with Prodigy and Mobb Deep was the best shit ever. I feel totally fucks with my shit. And if anything, in some instances, better than Necro shit. So it's not like I'm saying these guys aren't godly. It's that I compare their best shit to anything they do. So when I hear new Havoc or solo Havoc stuff, it's not on the fucking level. I get genuinely disappointed. I'm like, damn, man. So there was something special about Prodigy, that Prodigy would probably tell Havoc, nah, I'm not fucking with that beat. Nah, you got to make it iller. Prodigy probably was an inspiration for Havoc to excel, where other people probably ain't telling him the same type of shit Prodigy did. They're just happy to get a Havoc beat. Now me, if I worked with Havoc, it would be like when I worked with G-Rap, You might not know, when I first worked with G-Rap, the first verse G-Rap gave me, I thought might have been a little bit off time, and I had to talk to him about it. And I remember I was scared to even say it. I didn't want to disrespect the legend. And I talked to Domingo, and I was like, what do I do? And Domingo's like, nah, you got to tell him, because, you got to keep it 100. And G-Rap didn't get mad at me. He didn't really agree with me. He was like, nah, I don't think my verse is a little off time or anything like that. I was like, I don't know, It was unique. It was actually the verse from Crook Catastrophe, and it's exactly the way that we kept it. But when I first heard it, it sounded a little different than G's older shit. A little less in the pocket, And I was nervous that if I didn't say something to him, the whole Godfather's record might be like that. And I felt it was very important to keep it 100. I mean, G was mad cool about it. And G is the most humble dude ever in hip-hop. So I got to say that. Cool G Rap is the fucking best. When it comes to being a person, like totally non-judgmental, not racist, very supportive, gives love. He's like, not like anybody I've ever met that's a black hip-hop legend in hip-hop. He's literally, that's why I worked with him. So people that say, oh, Necro, you seem to not get along with people. Yeah, because a lot of people are fucking pieces of shit. You know what I mean? But Cool G Rap was on a whole different level of coolness. Me and him would be in the car, and he would be playing Jerky Boys and laughing, cracking the fuck up. Like, I was bugging. I was like, you like Jerky Boys? And he's like, ah! You could tell G's personality when you see him in that video with us in Quad Studio, and he's cracking up. He's a good dude. He might be the illest fucking goat of gangster rap, but he's a down-to-earth person. Usually, wise guys and gangsters are the funniest. They love cracking jokes. They shit on each other. You remember Tony Soprano? Just, even though it's nonfiction, even though it's fiction, they break balls. They joke with each other. So anyway, that's why me and Hyde get along. Because me and Hyde, we abuse each other constantly with jokes. We don't take nothing to heart, you know. It's comedy. A lot of people can't handle rolling with me and Hyde because we're so fucking brutal. But anyway, no disrespect to anybody I mentioned. All the people I mentioned, I have utmost respect for. But, you know, and I'm sure some people feel like that about me, Necro fans, that not everything is on the same level. It is what it is. You have a right as a fan to feel what you feel. And it's our job as artists for me to keep bringing it. That's why I feel like I never rest on my laurels. But, you know, you let me know what you think. You know what I'm saying? Peace out, motherfuckers. Salute. Necro Superstore.